Let's now quickly explore the VS Code interface for Git. Basically, we are in the Explorer view. This is where we start. This is the VS Code interface. Here on the bottom we have the terminal like this, and when we start a terminal we will get a terminal, the default system terminal that starts in our current folder, this Git practice for us. Here we also can see the output, and the output is basically the way of VS Code to show us what it is doing under the hood. I have selected this Git output, and this Git output will show us what VS Code does as Git commands. And when I say what it does, I say that if we will call the command palette, Ctrl+Shift+P, and search for Git, you will see that basically every Git operation we can do it from VS Code right here. Very convenient, but it is convenient if you already know what you're doing. If you are learning, I believe that knowing at least the basic Git commands is very important. Now let's explore the source control view. This is our source control view. We see it like this because we have a initialized Git repository. If we wouldn't have a Git repository, we could simply call git initialize repository, and then what we did before, we can also add a remote. We already did this manually, but we can do it also with VS Code. But this view is very important once we start to add modifications inside our code. For example, if now I will add a new line, or I will edit this text file right here, I will add a new text right here, and as soon as I added a text right here, or I modified this file, you'll see that its color in the file explorer will change. Now it will be something like a light yellow, and now I will also see a 1 right here in the source control view. This means that I have one file changed. If I will have a new file, if I will create a new file right here, I will call this a JSON file, sample.json file, doesn't really matter, and I will also add a new entry right here. This will be green because this is a new file, and you can see the coding right here. I see a U, which stands for untracked. Here I see a M, which stands for modified. I will close this, and I can, before committing and before staging my changes, I can visually check what happens. So if I will go now to my source control view, I will see what changed inside my repository. If I will click on this sample.json, I will see that it is untracked because it is new, so we are not tracking it yet. And if I will go to my modified text file with green, I will see what was added. If I would have deleted a file or a line, I will see it with red. So this is a very convenient way for me to check what is happening inside my code base or inside my file base before committing. In order to stage my changes, I can stage each file individually. I can unstage them with this minus operation right here. I can stage all of them by pressing this stage all button changes right here, and basically you get the point. If for example I want to revert the changes from a file, I can simply press this arrow right here, which stands for discard changes, and it will tell me, hey, do you want to discard this? And this will simply renounce the edit that I did before. So I will discard changes, and now my file will be at the state that it was before. If for example I will delete a line, and I will save this in the Git view, now I will see that this line was removed. I see it with red. So let me stage all of this. I will simply add a commit message. Never forget to add a commit message. This should be as meaningful as possible, but for our dump example, there's not too much to say. I will commit this, and then I will sync these changes, and sync stands for pushing the changes. I will press this, and now if I will go to my Git output, you will see what exactly Git did. You know, it will make pushes, it will call git config, it will call git status, and basically it will push our changes, what we did. But these Git commands are a little more complex for us, for VS Code, to know exactly what happened and to give us a more meaningful way of exploring our changes. we can see, of course, these changes directly now inside our repository. These changes are right here. This means that these pushes and commits from GitHub work just fine.